Oh, look at that. I think we're live.
Ooh.
What is
All
this
right.
live thing?
This is 108. Ready to do this? I think it says we're live.
I think so. Let's
we're
do
live.
it.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United Football Club and all things soccer. We've been on a little bit of a little vacation, kind of like the team, and we're back. Joined by Dave and Carmen. How's everybody doing?
Good. I went on a little scouting trip to Barcelona. Unfortunately,
Roughing it.
didn't identify any Atlanta United players.
Nobody.
No.
No. Anybody looking for a coach over there? Like, do we have any coaches we could hire?
Carmen, did you travel to see any of the U.S. women's national team in the Olympics?
I did not.
Did you think about doing that?
I so wanted to. It was exciting to watch them, though.
For our listeners,
Our buddy Enrique went.
Did
they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, man. Jealous.
And his family. Enrique.
So jealous.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, for those that don't know, Carmen is pretty diehard U.S. women's national team fan, and you've seen a lot of games. How many would you say you've actually watched?
I mean, I wouldn't say too many, probably. And over the course
go
of my
to the
life,
World Cup in France.
I did go to the World Cup in France.
That was awesome.
I'd probably go in like less than 20, though. Less than 20.
Yes, it's impressive.
Over the course of my lifetime,
still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, Dave, as always, you brought a lovely bottle of wine for us to kind of kick things off. What are we drinking?
It's an Italian, Barbera d'Asti L'Avignon. I don't know how to pronounce anything, but anyway, this is in honor of our new Italian. Well, he's not Italian, but he came from Italy, a new player from Italy.
Okay.
And who's that player?
Alexei Marinchuk.
Okay.
Came from our sister club, Atalanta. The first ever transfer people from Atalanta to Atlanta.
From Serie A.
All right.
Attacking midfielder number 15.
Yeah.
Now for Atlanta United.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So we'll talk a little about him in a bit. But before we do that, I want to thank our sponsors. We're drinking red wine. So let's thank Wolf Mountain Vineyards. Again, Wolf Mountain Vineyards is up in Dahlonega, Georgia.
Yep.
Again, this time of year, as it cools off, everybody's starting to feel, at least this last week was nice and cool. But great.
If you go up there in a few weeks, you'll catch me up there because I'm collaborating with Brandon on our own wine project.
That is awesome.
We're mixing grapes from my vineyard and their vineyard. Yeah.
Emerald Hills. You guys picked the grapes last Friday?
We harvested. Carmen joined.
How was it? Success?
Carmen, how was it?
It was a ton of fun. I expected to go up there and just drink wine and watch them work. But they put me to work and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm ready to drink another bottle here to
celebrate as we speak.
Or not. No, I'm talking about like a bottle ready to go.
Yeah. Well, so last year's vintage is almost done aging. Going to come out of the barrel soon. Usually on the podcast, you guys are the first to get to try it. Sometime right as we make the playoffs.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Also want to thank Wild Heaven Brewery. And Dave, you'll be excited to find out Wild Heaven Brewery has two locations, one here in Avondale Estates, one on the West End. A great place to grab a cold beer during happy hour, grab some great food. There's permanent food here at the one in Avondale Estates. Menu's fantastic.
Yeah, I heard they got the chef from the General Weir.
That's right.
That rocks. I haven't been there yet. I've been to the General Weir. I've been to Wild Heaven, but I haven't been to the General Weir.
The chef, I think, has created a special menu for the food they're putting out.
Yes,
so
I'm in.
Pretty cool.
All right.
But also the update on the Toco Hills location.
Do tell.
Is any day, but hopefully like a month from now, that they're just basically waiting on paperwork. You know how that works?
I'm going to be their first
from
customer.
The county, just waiting for paperwork.
I'm going to be their first customer.
So they're locked and loaded. They're pretty much ready to go.
And you know how like it in Duke, Shashevskyville, Carmen, you know, they camp out for tickets?
Yep. I know how that works.
That's me at the Toco
That'll
Hills
be you.
Wild Heaven.
Okay. Sounds good.
Camping out to be the first customer.
All right. I like it.
So thank you, sponsors. As always, hope to see you at your locations soon. And we're going to talk a little bit about a few things tonight, including Atlanta United and our kind of crash out in the League's Cup. Our return to MLS this last Saturday. We played LA Galaxy on the road. Talk a little bit more about the League's Cup and who won.
Right.
Columbus. Little teaser there, and then let's talk about Atlanta United and what the heck they're doing during this.
What are they doing?
What are they doing? I have no idea. We talk about the U.S. men's national team, Dave. We got a new coach.
Yes.
And
we do.
Oh, that's right.
And the EPL and European soccer started. Dave, you're in Barcelona. I don't know if you got some European updates for us. We'll dig into that if there's
Man
time.
United, big signing today.
So
nice.
There you go. Let's dive into what you thought of Atlanta United's performance in the League's Cup, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
2 home games, right?
The word abysmal comes to mind.
DC United, right?
Mhm.
Is our first game. And then Santos from Liga MX, who's not a great side. I think they're like 17.
No, they're like last place.
Yeah.
We get the draw of a lifetime. We get DC United at home. Santos at home. The worst Mexican team you could possibly draw. And
So,
wow.
Is there anything?
We couldn't even win a penalty kick shootout, Mikey Dobbs.
I know.
I mean, seriously.
I was at the Santos game, and it was
there were like 12 other people there.
It was seriously some of the saddest Atlanta United. I mean, the great thing is I still had a great time. I was with the family and friends. And
well done, Mikey
Kevin
Dobbs.
Sullivan and his kids were there. We had fun.
Good. Good.
As always. But it is just not the same atmosphere.
Enjoying the great football.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So how in the world with a gift of a group draw like that do we not advance at home?
We didn't advance because we're not good.
Yeah. So here we are.
That's pretty much it.
No, we are not. We are not good. So
I mean, DC United's not a good side. No. All you have to do is stop Benteke. All it is serve, Benteke, serve.
Yeah, and honestly, that Santos game is one of the worst games I've watched, and like it was really tough.
Not entertaining.
It's not entertaining.
It was bad.
It was just boring all around.
You know how they have those really up and down, wide open games? Yeah, that's not that.
Yeah, that was.
I got excited. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, not it. Not
that. So I really don't have anything to report other than we lost in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, well, maybe if we get into the tactical board in a minute, so when you lose Giacomakis and you lose Almada, then something has to change, right? Otherwise, because, we talked for a long time about how Pineda, let's go with he was an idiot, and he just couldn't get it right. All he had to do was get the defense solid and recycle the ball to those guys. And with those guys, along with Saba and Silva, in the mix, they could just create stuff all on their own. Well, that manager luxury and the occasional Almada bail you out free kick, gone. Yeah, right. It's gone. So now you got to start doing some real managing, right? And you got to have a strategy because you're not; those guys aren't just.
So what
score.
have you seen with Valentino in terms of at least trying to implement something that fills the gap of not having Giacomakis and Almada, which are 2 gigantic holes, but you've got to figure out a way to play that leverages the other options you have.
I mean, I think my impression is that overall he's a decent judge of talent. Like, we're not starting Rios anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he scored goals and whatever, I think he's still maybe our leading scorer.
He's tied as our leading goal scorer with
Tiare
and Almada. All have 6.
Yeah. Okay. But to me, I've always said about him, he looks like he can finish, right? That's good. And that's why he scores goals, right? But he doesn't really do much for the team beyond that, right? And so it's one thing if you have a team that's creating all kinds of things, crosses on whatever, maybe what Pineda wanted to do, but didn't really ever do. But, outside of that, if you need actually dynamic and to break people down and to do things or whatever, then I think to me, Tiare is a starter. And Rios looks like a great last 20-minute guy. You bring him in and he can score a goal for you. right, for sure. But to start in leading line, he just, to me, doesn't have enough movement. Doesn't do enough in the build-up. Which is okay. There are some players, I mean, those out there might be screaming, what? Erling Haaland doesn't do anything. Yeah, but when they get in the box, he scores everything. And they get in the box, 100 times a game. And that's not us, right? Because we're not a team. I mean, in particular under Pineda and continuing under Valentino, we have absolutely failed to turn over the ball up the field, right? We just don't do that. So, which, you can make an argument when you've got Almada and Gigi, maybe you don't have to. I would have said that's the best thing you could do is really get us organized and turn the ball up because it just give them more opportunities and we'll score. But certainly when you don't have that, now you got to do something else, right? Because your chances of being able to break down a set defense without the creativity of an Almada or without the brilliant finishing of Yakimakis is not great.
Yeah.
Right? Where's it going to come from? So you got to actually do things to manufacture more chances, either turn the ball up high, like a lot of people have pressing. The Red Bulls is the classic example. They do this extreme pressing. I'm not saying we should do that. Or, God bless, the airplanes that Pineda insisted on, that's designed to break people down, get numbers on the outside. Now maybe that's more useful because before it was just leaving us holes in the back when we didn't need it. But now we might need it.
Well, now if you airplane with Silva and Saba, right? I mean,
to me, that doesn't work still because, again, when you have Silva and Saba on the wings, if you're playing three in the front, the airplanes don't really that work because they're always crowding that space. But anyway, you could design a system that where a major attacking feature, I'm not saying we should do this, but in fact, I don't think we should. But where a design part of it would be the overlapping fullback would be the way.
But I mean, airplanes with our forwards and Saba and Silva as more of counter-attacking airplanes that they drop back into the space and that you play them on the run once you win it in the back and play them in open space.
I mean, one thing to me that's crazy, in the moment you lose Almada and Gigi, you think, all right, who's going to create for this team? And you look at this team, there is one player, prior to the bringing in Alexei Marinchuk, who looked like he was the creator, that's Saba, right? So this idea, Saba working off of Gigi and Almada, I think makes perfect sense as a right winger of the front three. But when you don't have them, in my opinion, he would have had to go centrally. I would have played him through the middle in the Almada role as a free role, like creative, whatever. You've got other people who could be the wingers, right? Mascara could be a winger. Or he would probably be my starter, but Tyler Wolf could be it. You don't have anybody else. Yeah. The idea that you're going to try,
Muyamba's not that.
Well, Valentino's scrambling. Muyamba's not that. He tried playing Sleaze as an attacking midfielder.
I texted you about
and he's really good, but he's not an attacking midfielder. And he was very uncomfortable there. And now in this latest game in LA, it was Jay Fortune who did a little bit better. But also, if you're going to put the shoulders of the attacking creativity on Jay Fortune, I would much rather put the shoulders of the creating attacking on Saba, right? A guy who could maybe handle it and has shown some creativity, right? So why not have? And he also has shown that he likes to go all over the place, right? So why not put him through the middle?
He's two-footed through the middle.
Yeah.
He's great he's actually great at reading the space and getting in the little pockets too.
I think honestly he's much more suited to that. He's not going to blow by you
can't
for pace.
Finish for shit.
He struggles to finish, but he's really creative and he can play a ball.
Yeah, he can play slot Tiare through or Silva through. So I agree. Okay. Who won the Leagues Cup? I told you. Did you watch that final?
I did not watch it live because I was with my kids at a thing, but I've seen it. Yes. And Columbus Crew. Surprising. I mean, so the interesting thing is that the MLS teams did really well. They eliminated all the Mexican teams. It was an all MLS final. So that's pretty impressive. Although, this whole thing about where they are in the season, right? So they're not really in midseason form. And they also have to all come to the United States, which seems a little weird, right? Like there's no such thing, why in the Leagues Cup can't MLS teams go to Mexico? Yeah. Right. That's weird. But anyway, that's that. We don't make those rules.
I have no idea.
But in any case, MLS teams got through the final, and probably the best team on either side. I mean, certainly on the eastern side, you could use Columbus and Cincinnati and Miami, and then on the west side, it's LA and LA.
Yeah.
So two of the best teams got through.
Yeah.
Right, makes no sense.
So then we reopen the MLS season against LA Galaxy.
I just want to say about that final. Did you see the final?
I did not.
So Hugo Lloris, who's the goalkeeper for LAFC.
Yeah.
Right. So did you see this, Carmen?
I did not see it, but you know how I feel about goalkeeper mistakes.
Well, here's the thing. So it's very late in the game. It's 1-1. So Columbus scored first, and I think late in the first half. And then LAFC equalized midway through the second half. So it was 1-1 for a long time. And it was like the 93rd minute. It was still 1-1, all still to play for. Columbus has the ball out wide. It's Cucho, and he whips in a really good cross. I mean, one thing I have to say, if you watch Cucho, right, and the difference between Pineda and, let's say, Wilfred Nancy. So we had a GG and whatever. There's so many people, and Pineda's system is like, I talked about it as bubble hockey, right? You can't go out of your your lane. Cucho has the freedom. He drifts out wide all the time, and he crosses. And you might say, well, that's crazy because he should be the guy at the end of the cross. Yeah. But they just do different things. And anyway, in this case, he drifted out wide. He got the ball. He whipped in a cross, right? And two guys were running in the middle. Nobody touched the ball, and it just went straight in the far post. As a goalkeeper, you cannot let that go straight in. You got to stay in the middle as long as possible, but you still have to be able to get there if nobody gets that touch, because they were running on. So it was like, were they going to get the touch or not?
Right.
Yeah.
You can't let it go straight in.
Yeah. And like the championship level.
I think Hugo Lloris,
you're going to get a few chances if you
7 years ago doesn't let that goal in. That's, that looked like, Guzan now, Hugo Lloris now, like.
Oh, the keepers. Gotta love the
So,
keepers.
yeah.
Sorry.
Nothing to show for Atlanta United after the Leagues Cup.
No. We once again don't even get out the group.
Don't even get out the group. So then we re-enter MLS season just this last Saturday. Have to go on the road.
Yeah.
Odds already stacked against us no matter who we're playing, but we're also playing a decent team in LA Galaxy, who I believe has a couple new big signings. Is it?
Yeah, Marco Ruiz.
Oh,
I mean, two-time Bundesliga Player of the Year, German international, 150 goals or something in the Bundesliga, or 200 something, whatever it is. Pedigree.
Yeah, so he ends up getting his first goal against Atlanta United, is the second goal in that match.
He comes on in the 70th minute. He assists on the first goal and then scores the second.
Surprise.
Yeah. I mean, but what it goes to say, though, like, designated player, we had a window. We have the most money in the league.
So, question. You gave Valentino crap for not starting our new signing in the LA Galaxy game, but Rios also didn't start, from what it sounds like. Why wouldn't you have started him if you're the LA Galaxy coach?
I agree. So now to be fair, so Marco Ruiz and Alexei Marinchuk, both coming from Europe, right? So they're not yet, they're basically preseason.
Yeah.
Right. It's our mid-season, but they would be preseason, right? So, but to be fair, and I don't know exactly, I think Ruiz came a little bit later. Marinchuk's been with the team at least 2 to 3 weeks training.
Yeah. I'm
like, that's a preseason for most players. I mean, the guys who, like, for example, the guys who played in the Euros to the final or whatever, they get off. They only report back. It's only like 2.5 weeks before the first game. That's enough to get them up and running.
Yeah. And Rios, he would only need, a couple days. So I'm just asking, why wouldn't he should start too, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, what I would have said, so first of all, Ruiz is older. So you might want to be a little more cautious with him. Marinchuk is not.
Well, he's 28,
That is super prime.
Yeah.
Right? Like
28,
And that's what
starting to get some back issues.
And on top of that, you might have said, all right, Chirandolo, a little bit older. He came a little bit later. And they're already in first place, so there's no reason to rush him.
Yeah.
We are a younger player, right? He came earlier, I believe, and We're not in first place.
Yeah. We're in 9th place, by the way.
Yeah.
With 28 points.
Okay.
And
okay.
then
We're still in a playoff spot, believe it or not.
Are you kidding me right now?
No.
Yeah, we're 9th place in the playoff spot.
Are
the
you
wild card.
kidding
But
me?
the thing is every single team all the way to the last place team is only 2 points behind us.
Right.
So it's like 27, 26, 26, 26, 26, or something like that. Yeah. Pull up the standings there. Like the point difference from the people below us. So if they win a game and when we lose to Charlotte on the road because we can't seem to win on the road, we're going to be in big trouble. We're going to be way down that chart.
I cannot believe we're in a playoff spot. I mean, they really want everybody to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Oh, man. Okay.
Right? So any of the teams behind us, even the last place team, if they win and we don't win, they leapfrog us.
You notice the DC
Wow.
United team that beat us in a penalty shootout in the Leagues Cup here, they're in 15th place. That's last, people.
Yeah.
So we got the last place team in MLS East and the last place team in Mexico. We got them both at home and still didn't advance.
So we're like 70% of the way through the season, right? 75% of the way through the season. And the last place team, all they need to do is win a game and they could be in a playoff spot.
Yes.
What is
God bless
happening?
MLS playoff rules.
Oh gosh, please don't let us finish last though. I'm fine not making the playoffs because I'm not excited anymore, but I don't want to be the
I'm
last.
going to actually go the opposite. So, I mean, maybe it's the time now for us to just lay into Lagerway, right? Because we were calling, if you're the podcast listener, you'll know we were calling. We wrote the song, people, about firing Pineda.
You can keep talking over the song. Go ahead.
It's almost impossible.
We're at least free of talking about Gonzalo Pineda.
Yeah. So, okay, so we were calling for this, right? And Lagerway came through. Awesome, right? So you think this is a turning point, right? But, as I always said, you should never fire a coach unless you're pretty confident that you have another coach who is better, who is like lined up and ready to come in.
You've said that over and over again.
Yeah, well, we didn't do that.
No.
We just fired the coach and this was our first idea. Oh, now what do? We're running a football club. What do we do when we fire a coach?
I cannot get my head around what is happening right now. I'm so disappointed and just like deeply rooted angry that the official statement from the club when we fired Pineda was appreciate you, yada, yada, say all the right things. And then we say, we're starting our coaching search tomorrow, which of course I didn't want to hear because I would have hoped you had started your coaching search.
You should be finishing the coaching search tomorrow.
Your coaching search, even if you don't tell Pineda about it, you still
right. So if you
make
the decision to fire Pineda, you can make the decision, okay, he's gone, right? And then you can start in the background and you can let him keep coaching and then fire him. And then, you don't want to fire him and then like the next day hire someone, but you should get it all lined up.
Right. Get it all lined up.
Ducks in a row.
So not only did we didn't have anything apparently lined up.
No.
We told our fan base through the official presser that the coaching search was going to begin the next day. Also a lie. And then we hear some quotes from Lagerway saying, you can't be doing a coaching search while also focusing on signing players during the summer window. That these are things that I've read. I don't know if you read the same thing.
Yeah. He said this because he was like, we're focusing on the summer window. You're like, how do you how do you sign players without knowing what the coach is going to do? What's the system?
And he also alluded to the fact that whoever who's the group, the Arthur Blanks group, they demand a firm do the search.
Okay.
So all of this might be part of the problem on why Lagerway wasn't able to influence that when say, hey, get your firm working in the background right now. If Pineda doesn't get his shit together in the next 4 weeks and the math that I have in my formula isn't adding up, I'm going to have to let him go and at least want some really good options. Okay.
Remember he said it was going to be the point where if we then average whatever it was, 2-point-something points per game,
that's
that
right.
we would still get in the top 4. That was the moment. with the idea being he really thought that when he fired him and he handed it over to Valentino, that we were going to go 2-something points per game and we were going to get to the top 4.
Yeah.
And he sold our best 2 players, Almada and Gigi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And again,
What?
Yakamaki's, we didn't have to sell him. I don't care
No.
what
we
the
should have just
profit
said,
was. Just said,
suck
Yeah.
it.
suck it. You're going to play for us and you're going to try to get us in the playoffs. Which is
And
why
I
we
know
got
there's
you.
a lot of players, a lot of people out there who
Yeah.
are like, oh, good riddance because he's injury prone. He is still a proven goal scorer.
Right.
And
Yes.
those are not easy to come by. This idea that, you just go out on the street and you find yourself a proven goal scorer. Good luck.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, everybody would have a proven goal scorer.
Right.
Yeah.
So upset with that, right? Almada, I get it. I'm actually thankful that he's finding his way over the pond.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. That was always likely.
Although, again, even that signing was nuts because they signed him and he wasn't even ready to move to Europe. So he had to go play for a week or 2 weeks in South America. And you're like, okay, if that was true, why not either not sign him for sell him for 2 more weeks,
Yeah.
right? Because the window wasn't closed.
Right.
Right. Or B, sign him and loan him back to us for those 2 weeks. Why is it?
Yeah.
What was the madness about that?
I don't know if it's TAM and GAM getting in the way of that. I don't know how the cap issues work. Maybe there's something there that somebody can comment on. But now, Dave, then, there's been additional quotes from Lagerwey saying, that a coach, while important, is only like 20% of the equation, and it's about the players, and everything's still like in social media, in the press, seems to all still say, which of course right now we have some gaps in the talent with Almada and Gigi gone, but we have a lot of nice pieces still. That again, Lagerwey saying the coach isn't all that important, and we're not going to rush it. But why is there zero urgency? And again, I was texting you this. So the U.S. men's national team, if you are listening to the podcast and you don't watch international soccer, U.S. soccer has been getting, crushed the last couple decades on being a little bit too much of a fiefdom, only looking
Incest 101.
Yeah. Only looking within a certain select,
Former national team players.
Former national team players, brothers, sisters.
Yep.
Anyway, they went out and they actually, tried to go after Klopp. They at least called him on the phone or
Correct.
said
Called
something.
him. They called him.
Probably called some other people that were,
Yep.
stretch bets. But another one, probably top 10 coach in the world right now, Pochettino.
And all these people said Pochettino's never coming to America. He's
So-
coming to America.
Accepts he was basically entertaining, I think, the England job or the U.S. job from what I was.
Oh, really? I
Granted,
didn't know
think
that.
we're not going to get Pochettino to pick Atlanta United over the U.S. national team, but that just shows that he was open for a change, as we thought about.
That's exactly the same way they called up. That's what I was saying when Pineda was released, that Lagerwey better be on a plane talking to somebody in Europe. And evidently it should have at least been Pochettino and taking him out to lunch.
Yes.
Do something. That's your job.
Gallardo came back.
He
went back to Boca
hanging around the hoop.
from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, man.
And his son is here. And no.
No.
So all of those European coaches who were available, right?
And it seems like now that they're waiting for this window to close before they start searching again, means that maybe if they're going for your thing and trying to get Wilfred Nancy and just poach,
that's their only saving grace.
That
if they're
would be
literally
their
like, we are the boss club and we are going to get, and I don't think Wilfred Nancy's coming here.
That's his only,
because if you're Wilfred Nancy, once upon a time, more in the recent history, you would say, oh yeah, I'm leaving Columbus because they don't have money to buy players. Atlanta has a much bigger fan base, much bigger city, much bigger salary, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it may not be true anymore.
No.
We don't look
all our credits burning up.
Yeah.
I mean, that Leagues Cup game was an eye opener. And I just don't understand how Lagerwey just doesn't have the urgency and understand what's at stake right now.
He kept saying,
I don't care if his spreadsheet, Dave, shows that our TAM and GAM is in order. We need to be out there, like, just going for it. I don't like Barcelona might mismanage their money, but at least they're talking and trying to figure out who the next.
To get a good player.
Trying to get at least they got ambition still.
Yeah, drive the team.
They're a dumpster fire
into the gutter, but hey, we're gonna go right. Yeah. So here's the thing. He kept saying that. Oh, I expect Valentino will win the job. I'm like, BS. He shouldn't. I don't care if he wins every single game the rest of the season.
Yeah, no.
We are not a club that should ever be satisfied with a coach who doesn't have already a proven record winning games as a head coach.
So
period.
How did we get it so right with Tata? And we had the blueprint, and we're like, that wasn't it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That wasn't it. Oh, by the way, Tata Martino might be a good coach if you've been paying attention to the best team in MLS.
Even without
Messi,
he's still in first place. Yeah, I don't get it. And okay, so you make certain decisions. They went after some names, which Heinze had a winning record in South America. It was brief, so you might want to settle longer before you take him, but okay. De Boer had a mixed record and had some not good things coming in. But and Pineda, you say, okay, we're mixing it up. We're going to try the best assistant coach in MLS kind of thing. I'm okay with all of that. I'm not happy about it. I don't think I would have done that, but I'm okay with it. Right. But once you've made that mistake and seen what happens, the next hire has got to be a proven coach with a head coaching proven record, period.
Yeah. And you would think Lagerwey's thinking that right now, right?
I don't think he is, because he was thinking about Valentino as being the next head coach, which is madness.
Okay, true.
Madness. He kept talking about Valentino. Oh, maybe he'll earn the job. And I'm like, no, he won't.
I'm talking about like now that Valentino is crash and burned.
Does Lagerwey even know that?
I don't think so.
Does he even know that Does he even know that Valentino has crashed and burned?
No.
Are you sure about that?
I don't think so. He does. He's supposedly a stats guy. You would think that all those
20% as a coach matters.
Loss. You would think maybe the math would add up there.
So first of all, here's what I think though, right? And this won't worry about. So Lagerwey, comes in with this amazing track record in MLS, right? He's won 2 MLS titles at 2 different clubs, right? He was executive of the year twice, right? So you're like, oh my God, this is great. Again, proven record as a general manager. That's what you want in this league, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, home run. When he got hired, I'm like, that is a home run. And you never know, but it's at least that's a good hire. You win the press conference kind of thing. But here's my worry, right? In both of those jobs, he kind of inherited and stuck with the same coach, and he built better players, and they won. And in both cases, MLS was a lot younger, right? And it was a lot closer at the margins, and you could kind of win that way.
But there's 8 more teams.
You cannot win that way anymore in MLS. MLS is a much better league. The LAFCs and the LA Galaxies are buying Giroud and Roos and all these great players, right? You are not winning in Salt Lake City by just managing your TAM and GAM.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to happen. You actually have to go out, and the most important thing you can do in a salary cap league, the most important thing you can possibly do, the one thing that you don't have to worry about the salary, is the coach. The one thing that you have no limit for is the coach. So you have got to go get the best coach. If you want to be the best team in MLS, you've got to go and get the best coach, period.
Yeah, and we didn't even go over to Europe and talk to anybody.
No.
All summer.
All of those guys just go.
Yeah.
Like,
Is
right?
It
I mean,
I don't. Well,
things
it doesn't sound like we even talked to them.
No.
Nothing's been going on.
No. And some of those guys were a little bit crossed by terrible European systems where they're just going to fire their coach no matter what. They had won the league title and still got fired kind of thing.
Right.
Like Pochettino.
Yeah.
Right. But, and they were willing to go be like, F you, I'm going to take a couple years and go to a different league.
A 2-year reset at Atlanta United?
Yes. They were willing to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of what Tata
like
did.
Allegri,
True.
Juventus coach, who they sacked the second time. Oh, my God. I think he's still available.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah, and he's like, there was an article on ESPN. It was like the top 50 coaches in soccer. Yeah, and Pochettino was like it was number 10, I think,
Okay.
9 or 10, and the U.S. national team was able to court him from not having a job. You know,
Pochettino, as I said over and
Tottenham,
over and over, made so much sense for Atlanta United because he's Argentinian, he's younger, he's really good at bringing players through the system. He would have had the pipeline. You know, I mean, he made a ton of sense here.
You know, I don't think we have an Argentinian on the team anymore, do we?
No, but we have had a lot of
Isn't that
South
weird,
American
though?
players coming through.
I'm just calling out. Isn't that weird? With Almada leaving, right? This is the first moment in Atlanta United history without an Argentinian player. How things have fallen. Like that was part of our little bit of our culture too.
Yeah.
There's a little of that.
Yeah, I mean, Lagerwey said that he was going to orient a little bit towards Europe, and he's done that. But you know, and I'm okay with that, right? There's good players in Europe.
I'm not, because it sure doesn't seem to be the winning recipe right now.
Well, he got a great player in Sleaze. Yeah. He's a terrific player.
Gregerson's great player.
Gregerson looks like he's legit.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't talked about it yet. We probably will. Amador, the left back.
Maybe. Okay. All right.
It's okay.
Better than Wiley?
We haven't. No. Well, you know, interesting. He's certainly not a better player than Wiley, but he could be at this point in his career with the coaching that Wiley was getting, which was not good. He could be a better defender.
Okay.
Which is actually more important.
Okay.
Although, you know, here's the ultimate irony, right? When you get rid of Gigi and Almada, you suddenly need Wiley bombing forward because you got to create something, right? But no, we didn't keep him either.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing, right? Like, where are we going? What is the plan? What is plan B? What is the backup tactically?
Well, we also have 2 DP spots technically open. It sounds like they're holding off on those till hopefully a coach is involved.
Would be good.
That would at least be good timing. But
apparently they offered some striker and they struck out on him. Right, there was a striker that they wanted to get.
I just don't recall paying attention to a team where I just feel like we've just kind of just totally given up on any sort of game plan for a season that started off with a roster that by all means should have been punching for MLS Cup.
MLS Cup contender for sure.
Super excited at the beginning of the year.
And we're 2 games away from being at the bottom of the table.
Right. And the thing about it that's so frustrating, is the coach. The coach, right? And if you learned anything after we lost Tata from this run of different things that we have had, right? What you should have learned, the lesson from that is no matter who you get on the team, you still need to have the best coach. That's how you win MLS. It is not necessarily, you just get the best players. It doesn't matter who the coach is.
And like I said, now that MLS is a different animal from when it was when Lagerwey was winning back in Seattle,
for sure.
I do think the influence of like a bigger name coach like Tata and Miami, you obviously see that with being able to court all the retired Barcelona players. It does matter. It does matter to get like the city matters too, but the coach can almost sway anything in a city like Atlanta, where it might not be the glitzy destination of the California coast or Miami.
Exactly.
A coach that you want to play for. Had we gotten Pochettino, could you imagine some of the European players that have been like, hey, you know what? Oh, MLS this. I'd be able to play for Pochettino when I go over there.
Yeah.
Like I would have done everything possible to at least take a swing. At least tell me you took a swing too. Yeah, they did. They haven't communicated anything because they haven't done anything.
Not at all.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it is absolutely unacceptable what we have done with the coaching search. So we can have an argument about what we've done with players, whether we should have sold Wiley, Almada, Gigi in the same window, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of things you can have an argument. You cannot have an argument with me about the coach. Yeah. Fire the coach. There should be a coaching search underway. right? It should be absolutely evident that there is an absolutely active search underway, period.
You know, and another thing I want to bring up, and I'm curious of your opinion, is a lot of people are like, Boca out for the last 5 years. People have been saying that.
Right.
But I also, I'm okay with that. If, same way with a coach, you got somebody better.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bocanegra, by all accounts, even right now, seems to be getting talent in the door.
I mean, what I want to say to people is who are our terrible, I mean, everybody says, oh, the squad is not good enough and it's all the players or whatever. Who are the terrible signings? And who's a good signing? We can go through, right?
Yeah.
So Almada was a great signing. For sure.
Great signing.
Gigi was a great signing for sure. And even if he had injury issues, he was still the newcomer of the year and the leading scorer per minute in the whole MLS.
Yeah.
That's a good signing.
Sleaze
to me was the missing piece we needed to clean up the midfield. Yeah. Right. He replaced, we lost, an amazing defender in Miles, right? But he replaced him with a Gregerson, looks like a good signing, right? Where's our horrible signings? I think they brought in like a Rios as a backup. He's never going to be a starter, but
like in Moyamba, like I think everybody's expectations are off on who he was ever going to be. Like at least I think our expectations for who he was always
more realistic
than what he is.
Yeah. And I think he's not great.
And he's not great. But
he had flashes that tricked us a little bit. But
and I don't know that he gets paid that much.
I have to say, I was very, very early on saying that everybody was going to be disappointed by Muyumba. You can go back to the podcast to hear that.
Silva is a luxury player on most teams.
I think Silva, it looks to me, we had a series of players that were really talented who our coaching staff could not unlock. Araujo, Marcelino Moreno, and Silva looks in that ilk, right? Which is he looks like a talented
player.
Good
PT Martinez was a baller.
You
don't go to Saudi Arabia League and get paid a ton unless someone who knows how to assess talent is like, that guy's a baller. And he was a baller. Okay. And again, untapped potential.
So I think to me, a good coach, am I saying that, Silva is the MLS player of the year? No. But what I'm saying is a good coach could really unlock him. He's got talent. He really does. And I think the same thing with Saba, right? Saba's got real talent. Yeah. Are they number one players to lead the line and take all the attention? Probably not.
And again, this is assessing that even from day one, like watching like 2 or 3 games. And I find this interesting reading the Doug Roberson article about like the problem is simple. Like we're not clinical enough was the thesis of his. Well, it didn't take very long for a coach, right, to look at Saba and Silva and be like, look, very skillful players. Actually, they get in a lot of great positions tactically. They're athletic, skillful on the ball, but they are not clinical players. And you could see that right away. So this is not a secret. And that's probably why they didn't succeed in Europe because they aren't clinical. And that's why they're at Atlanta United.
Right. And expecting them to be sort of nuts.
Again, people, this is where coaching understands that as a baseline that Saba and so how do you get the most of them is you design around their strengths and keep them from screwing up by trying to be too clinical when they are not clinical players.
You put Saba in the mix, you allow him to be in the more midfield where he's comfortable playing in tight spaces, and you push Silva as high up the field as possible because he can beat a guy and he can finish, right? And so the problem that Silva has is he beats a guy and now we're expecting him to deliver the great ball and it's never in his talent. So in my opinion,
so I agree. Like Silva can be clinical once he's up in the box in areas like that, but so saying Silva's not clinical is a little bit of a wrong thing. I'm aligning with you there, but by the time he has gotten into the space, he's already kind of done too much, and he's trying to get an extra move in. Whereas, like if somebody plays him a nice ball, and he didn't do all the work to get there, then he usually can, put it away or
in my opinion, the moment we lost Gigi and Almada, Silva would have gone into center forward and Saba would have gone into the attacking midfield. They would have taken those roles and other people would take it, even to the point where Tiare could be out wide. Yeah. He's got way more pace, right? And he runs by people or whatever, right? This idea that this guy came to me as a whatever. I mean, and you know how you see it? You want to know what a coach does, Carmen? Mikey Dobbs? right? Who is our best player of all time?
Miguel Almiron.
And Joseph Martinez,
Mm-hmm.
right? Joseph Martinez, when he was playing in Italy, when Tata signed him, he was a winger, right?
Yeah.
So if Pineda had signed him, he would still be a goddamn winger.
Yeah.
What Tata said is this guy's quick, he can finish, and he's not, the people who had him on the wing probably saw him as whatever he is, 5'9" instead of 6'5", and they're like, my striker has to be 6'9", right? And Tata was like, no, he can finish, he's clever, he's quick, he's giving movements, he should be a striker, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So this idea, and the ultimate in this is Pep Guardiola. All kinds of people come to him as different players, and he moves them, right? Because he says, okay, first of all, I'm never going to pigeonhole you, right? You came to me as a winger, you have to be a winger, right? I'm going to look at your talents, and I'm going to look at my team, and I'm going to see what I need, right? So if I'm looking at our team right now, we need a striker, right? Silva should be leading the line.
Yep.
We needed a creative guy before we got Marinchuk, who could be that guy, right? But Marinchuk looks to me like comfortable out in space or whatever. I would still tinker with Saba in the middle and Marinchuk as the right of the front three, Silva in the middle, right? Or Mascara and Marinchuk playing inverted.
Yep.
Right?
Figure it out.
Like, look at their talents, people. It's not just who the players are, but look what they do well and put them in the place to succeed, right? Silva is really good physical. He's really good at beating his guy one-on-one, but often he beats his guy so far out here, and then he can't deliver a great ball. But if he's beating a guy up front, he's got a shot, and now he'll score.
All right. Tactical board. You want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I want to talk about the midfield.
Talk about the midfield now that we've got Marinchuk.
So we don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about Marinchuk to really know. I mean, the thing about him is the thing about it signing Marinchuk, he was signed as an attacking midfielder, and people say he has a lot of talent, but his scoring record in Europe is not spectacular, right? He started for Atalanta, and they did really well. They won the Europa League, I think.
Yeah. His numbers look mid-range, so
he scored like 3 goals and he had more assists, maybe like 8 or something, whatever.
Set some numbers in the Champions League and the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing other than just some numbers.
Yeah, nothing that really. Now that doesn't mean there have been players who have been, above average players in a really good league like Serie A and have come here and really lit it up. Right. I mean, an example of that might be like Robbie Keane, who was a very good player in the Premier League and was a superstar in the MLS. Right. He was a 15-goal scorer, maybe 12, 13-goal scorer in the Premier League. And when he came to MLS, he was the leading scorer in the league. So
that's also a league 16 years ago, though.
Yeah. But it can happen. You step down half a step or a quarter step or whatever it is, and you do a little better. So I'm not, on that, but it doesn't look like that is an automatic answer when you're just looking for goal contributions, for example. Okay. So the thing that I want to talk about in particular, Valentino's flailing in the center midfield. Okay. So in this last game, actually, he started.
I guess Gregerson should be.
Yeah, I'll move that in a second. But so Gregerson is here, and it was him instead of Cobb. It's fine. But he had Dax McCarty. Marinchuk started on the bench, right? And he had where did Fortune go? Yes. He had Fortune in here. Okay, so I think Muyemba was hurt. That's what they said. So whatever. But so even if you have these 3 guys, right? So Dax McCarty at one point was a terrific defensive midfielder, right? He can really read the game, and he was an all, action guy, not fast, but he was all over the place. He's old now, right? So that doesn't mean he can still read the game and he can still contribute, but there is no way when he's in here, where he is here, he can't cover in these other spaces or whatever. He's mostly just good at reading in the middle. So if you're going to do that, right, then it should look like very defensive, but Sleaze should be on his own there because Sleaze is young and can cover all that, right? A double pivot when you have such a dichotomy, one guy who can really, really cover a space like Sleaze can, and Dax McCarty, who used to be able to cover a lot of space and can't anymore, right?
But he can sit there in the middle, win it, recycle it, and not having to run around too much.
Right. I actually think on the road, I have no problem with playing Dax McCarty along with Sleaze and even Fortune. That's a very defensive center midfield. But Sleaze should have been given the role because there were a number of times where McCarty was here and Sleaze was like doing nothing because he couldn't be active on this weak side. And he wanted to come over here and make the play, but you can't do this. Right. So I think a double pivot of those two players doesn't make any sense to me. A double pivot is so overused. It's so overused. Maybe if you're Barcelona, Pep Guardiola team, you can play a double pivot when the guys can totally read it. And neither of them were the most amazing defensive players, right? But all of them could really possess the ball, and that was mostly their role. And there was always a guy back, even the way that Manchester City is playing it now, where they play multiple players in the center peak, and there's always one guy who rotates in behind to sit. That's an equivalent of that, but that's a totally different system where you're on the front foot all the time or whatever. That's not us, right? So the idea that you have, two defensive midfielders is better than one is not true, right? It's only true if you have no guys who can defend. But if you've got a guy in Sleaze who can really read the game and defend, now it should be like this. Now, I would have said, okay, Fortune, who had a better game, and he on the counter, we got on the ball and he did some decent stuff, right? But Fortune doesn't look to me still, despite all that and making some good decisions, he's not the guy you want delivering the killer pass, is he?
No.
Maybe, but not. I mean, I would rather it be Saba doing that. Yeah. So to me, it should be Saba in here as the free guy. So I would have played almost like a stack, right? Sleaze is really in front of defensive midfield. McCarty is playing in front of him and always going. So Sleaze is always going ball side and McCarty is going weak side, whatever it is. And Saba just has a free role, is hardly defending at all, maybe double teaming, right? That's the way to go.
But you're also saying in this case, if you had it your way, you would swap. Well, you take Thierry off the field and put Silva up front.
I would put Silva as the front striker.
Take Thierry off or put him on the right.
Yeah.
But you would probably put in Mascara or something on the right.
So I think, knowing our new signing.
Oh, yeah, new signing for sure.
Would be here, right? And then on the, and I don't know who's going to be the best inverted. I'd have to think. I haven't seen enough of Marinchuk to know how two-footed he is. He's left-footed, isn't he? I think he's left-footed. I'm pretty sure. So I would have him out here wide on the left. And to me, Mascara, who looks great when he's on the right side and horrible inverted, I would have Mascara as the front third right there. And then I would probably normally play not McCarty. You could use a Fortune, who's a more box-to-box player. Sleaze is playing here. So this, to me, would be our starting lineup. So these guys are frantically searching. I think he is left-footed.
Yeah, I can't see.
That would be my starting lineup. So for those of you who are not seeing it, if you're just listening on the podcast, it's Guzan in goal, Amador on the left, who we haven't talked about that much, Williams and Gregerson in the center defense. Although, honestly,
you like Cobb? Yeah.
Cobb and Gregerson is a better option. Lennon on the right. Sleaze at defensive midfield. In front of him, Saba and Fortune in a stacked kind of role where Saba is truly the free role. Fortune's playing sort of box to box, and Sleaze is really covering and defending. Defensive midfielder, always going ball side. Mascara on the right to give you the speed. Marinchuk with his, creativity and beat a guy, whatever. And Silva leading the line. That's a much better team.
This would be your starting lineup right now.
Yep.
Against Charlotte.
Correct. That's what I would start this weekend, Saturday night in Charlotte.
So is that if Muyumba is hurt or if he's
Well, I have no problem with this.
A Fortune for Muyumba.
Yeah.
Okay. Or Muyumba for Fortune.
I think that's a 50-50 call.
Or okay. What do you think about McCarty in there as well. So you have kind of three options.
So I would have said McCarty is a great option. Like when we go to LA, when you're really going to be under the cushion, you really need that extra defending. Neither Muyumba nor Fortune defend like McCarty.
Okay.
So if we were in LA, it would be McCarty as this. But again, not in a double pivot, would be really in a.
Do you know enough about Charlotte's midfield to be confident on that?
Well, just look at where they are on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
But
I wouldn't go into Charlotte. So, like, if I were going into LA, I would go into basically try to sit in, counter them, you know, and try to get the goal because knowing that you're going to be really under it, right? But that's not going to be true in Charlotte, right? If you go into Charlotte to take it at them and win, right? So that would be my team. So, and then if you have it, right? So I think you then have on that team, you have Rios coming in late for Silva as the forward who can score you a goal. I think Tiare in this system is actually better here for Mascara, right? You keep the pace at all times and you have another creative player out there, right? And Marinchuk as a designated player is going to play almost all the minutes, right? And Saba's got the free roll. Why not let Saba, you know, get close and combine with Marinchuk, see if Silva can get on the end of it. That to me is a team I like.
It's not bad.
I didn't hate Valentino's lineup, I should say, but it wasn't the best. And the thing that I didn't like the most about it is that he got most of the talent right. Like he didn't play Rios, he played Tiare instead of him. He got it mostly right, and he was not like Pineda unwilling to play three defensive players in the midfield. He played McCarty and he played Fortune and he played Sleeves all together. I like that. Also, we've been talking about that, especially on the road against good teams. So all of that is good, right? I just didn't like that he's not creative enough to make some, you know, differences about who might play where. Saba has to be a winger.
So against LA Galaxy, it looked like Guzan had a pretty solid game. Didn't he save a penalty kick? He had a couple.
Oh, really?
He had a couple really stellar saves. I don't know what he screwed up, but I just saw on the highlights. I saw, of course, the good stuff. Did you see any?
I didn't think he screwed up anything.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think he could have gotten close to any of the goals.
Yeah, it looked like he had a great game.
I thought he was a great game. He made a penalty kick save. I mean, he was terrific. And, you know, overall,
looked like he kept us in that game when LA had the chance, and we missed some chances in that game.
So we had 2 goals called back for offside. One was very stupid. Should have been a onside. Tiare got himself offside.
Why did he go in front there? He didn't need to be that ambitious.
That's just the reason why he's not a striker in Europe still. Right. And to be honest, maybe he's not a striker. Maybe he's much better going at players. He could be a winger, right? But anyway, that's that. And the one that you know, the other one, so we got a cross and it was to Lennon at the back post. And Lennon did really poorly with it. He could have actually hammered a shot and scored. He didn't do that well. He eventually got it under control. And then I don't know whether he was shooting or crossing, but he ended up hitting it back across. It went all the way back across, even though he was in the 6-yard box. And Silva had made a run and ended up actually
going out
of bounds. And he was coming back on the field, and he came back on the field and basically stopped the ball, turned it in, and made a beautiful shot. But he was egregiously offside. So I mean, but people are like, "Oh, he shouldn't have touched the ball." Well, of course he should touch the ball because you never know. Right. And if they didn't touch the ball, that ball was going out for a goal kick or a throw in. Right. It was just going flying. Right. So that's not on him. Right. Come on.
All right.
But I think so. The other thing that we should note is that Pineda had all these crazy tactics. You know, you would have said Pineda was much more sophisticated tactically. I think he was actually making us worse. The airplanes, the covering outside from the center, all the stuff, right? And Valentino is much more play it straight up. So first of all, we don't have the outside guys bombing forward. And you can make an argument, maybe now we need it, but I've never thought that's a great idea for them to go automatically forward. And you saw in this game, the goal that we should have scored, that Tiare just was a little offside, that was created because Amador made a run down the side. He timed it really well. He got in, he beat a guy and crossed it. He wasn't forward that much in the game, but he still basically created a goal. Right. And I think Lennon, same thing, right? If he would.
Was that Amador who was the one who was crossing?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think Lennon maybe should go forward a little bit more than that because he is good at serving a ball, but he should not be bombing forward and standing alone. He should be timing and always looking to go, sure, but just time the run because you're not fast, Lennon, right? So your only advantage is to time the run and get it and then get in a good spot, and then he can deliver a ball like you wouldn't believe. He's a terrific deliverer of the ball, but whoever had this idea of forward is better, like nuts.
So things are shaping out in MLS. I think you'd probably predicted. I don't know.
What did we predict?
So
I don't even know.
I am 99% sure.
Okay.
Almost 100% sure I predicted Inter Miami.
Oh, yes, you did. But,
in terms of
but
winning
where
the
did
whole
we
thing?
pick us?
Oh, us? Oh, so when we did the recalibration, like I was saying like 4th or 5th, I think at the beginning of the season. And I think I ended up like saying in the last calibration, 5th or 6th is where we're and now
I feel like you were like 6th or 7th. I feel like you came
maybe I even came even further down, but at the very beginning I was like 4th or 5th.
Where were Carmen and I? I think I was the lowest, wasn't I?
I think you were, which surprised me actually.
I think you were like, we have to with this roster be like 4th. 5th.
Was I?
4th or 5th.
We're
I
talking
think
about the
we gotta go
beginning or
back.
the
I'm talking about-
recalibration?
no,
I'm talking about prior to the season.
prior.
Oh.
I think you were. I think like right at the beginning of the season.
I thought our squad was really good, but
But we also knew who the
We
I don't
knew
think
the coach
you
was.
were. I don't think you were that optimistic. You definitely were
Yeah.
like on the outside of the top 4.
I feel like I can't remember saying that, like, first of all, we're not getting close to the top 3 because it's going to be Miami, Cincinnati, and
I think all of us
Columbus.
knew
That was for sure. And so I think both you and I had us at like more like 5, 6.
And then I think after the calibration,
and I think I
went
was.
even lower.
I think I was 4 or 5 at the very beginning.
4 or 5, and now we've all.
And then I think we've all kind of just
stepped down,
pushed out into a point where it doesn't even matter. We're talking
I was about
about
to say
it's just on the outskirts of the playoffs, which is where the entire MLS is at.
I feel like we all said
it doesn't
that
even
we
matter.
would
but
probably
we're
make
in
the
with the
playoffs.
riffraff.
But importantly, I predicted that Inter Miami was going to win
You did.
MLS
did.
Cup.
You
And
were
I think-
very
I
adamant
said
about
no.
it.
And rightfully so. Dave was like, he's old, he's gonna get injured.
Yep.
Yeah, that
And-
was also
and-
right.
And hold on. And I said, yeah, he'll probably get injured, but he'll be back just in time for MLS
Yes.
playoffs.
You
That's
did.
also
You
what you
did
said?
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should go back. We should
About
play
to
that.
happen.
We should play
Look at
And they
this.
lit-
And the thing that I got wrong, and I'm going to say it here because
Uh-oh.
we haven't gotten that much wrong.
Oh.
The thing that I got wrong is I said that I felt like that Messi is old enough that he's finally going to get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
which was right. And that when he was out for a while, and I said Miami's defense sucks, and even with Tata, they're not going to be able to win without Messi, and that was wrong.
I mean, they smashed Cincinnati the other night, 6-2.
I could not believe
Without
that.
Messi.
Actually, I could not believe that. I was really surprised.
And I think
about
you're
that.
right. He's coming back, and he's going to be healthy right in time to playoffs. So who's
And
going to
he's-
bet against a rested, fit
Yeah.
Messi with Miami?
with the MLS trophy on the line.
And then he'll collect the final trophy that he's never won, which is stupid. But anyway,
But it's another trophy for Messi. You know he's going to get the team ready.
I have to say, I mean, we don't know exactly how it's going to, but if that happens and he comes back and he really is healthy, Miami is definitely.
how
the
much
favorite.
as a teammate does that elevate you when you have Lionel
Oh,
Messi
you're a good point.
being
That's a
like, hey,
great
we got
point.
a chance to win an MLS Cup?
Yeah, because he just creates goals out of nothing. I
Yeah.
mean, he's unbelievable.
Look at this. Mikey Dobbs is
Ah.
probably right.
I know. I
He
can't.
knew.
Even Dave's kind of like forfeiting to that one. Now my mojo's going away on this.
We
Damn it.
had it though between the two of us. You had it like Miami was going to run away with it, and I was like,
Mhm.
no, because he's going to get hurt. And you were right; they're going to run away with it, and I was right; he was going to get hurt. So like,
Yeah,
we had it like we
we're-
had it pretty nailed on.
Yeah.
What about me?
What did you say?
I didn't. I was wrong on every single thing I've
No,
said.
we'll have to go back and listen. I think you may have agreed.
I'll go
with
back.
me. I
If
think
you're
you
out
may have
there,
agreed
you're
on
a
the Miami
podcast
thing.
listener, and you know what we predicted, then come back. We're gonna go listen
We'll
to
figure
our
it
first
out.
episode.
I'm gonna
We'll
figure it out. Yes.
I meant to do it before this episode because I knew it's gonna come up, and I just forget.
Oh, the
Feel like-
optimism we
Did,
once had.
did you not write it?
I'm sure it's written down somewhere on
Yeah.
some post-it note I have somewhere. But yeah.
We need to like bring up like a notes app, like key. key claims, like,
You
right?
know
Like
what? I'll even check to see if I
big
did.
claims on the podcast, and just make note, Carmen.
Because
Right,
I
the
usually write down
bets.
bets
Yeah.
because
Big
I want
bets,
to know
big-
who
big
wins
claims.
those. But
Should-
Okay, so let's just recircle back. What do you think of Pochettino's hiring?
I
Because
think
I know there's some people are not that thrilled with it.
well, those are people that don't know what the other options were, which are not as good.
I would
the
even
best
go-
possible choice they could have made.
So I would go a step further and say, not just that those people don't know what the alternative is. I'm not sure that we could have almost gotten anybody better. I think that Pochettino fits our team to a T. He likes young, he likes aggressive front foot. He, coaches young players. He's tactically flexible enough. I think he suits our team to a T.
Yeah. And I'm sure he was so miserable at PSG. He's going to be a breath of
Chelsea.
At Chelsea, is miserable. Even at Tottenham, where he's successful.
Chelsea, we said this, last year, right? Second half of the season, right? So Pochettino was coming in to fix the mess that was Chelsea, right? And it was just loads of players, and they're all the same player, and it was terrible. And he struggled. First half of the season, they really struggled. They were in like 12th or something. And then the second half season, they were the best team in the Premier League. He got it together. If you're a general manager or a fan or whatever, you're like, yes, keep Pochettino. He figured it out, right? And they fired him. And then they brought in another guy. And I'm not saying he's not going to figure it out, but like, you're starting from scratch. And
Yeah. Yeah.
But
why? But anyway, for us,
it's good.
Yeah.
And there's a conspiracy theory, Carmen. You like this?
Ooh, I love conspiracy theory.
Right. So where did both of our U.S. national team men's and women's teams coaching come from?
Wait, say it. What?
Where did they both come from? Which club?
Chelsea.
Chelsea. And what did Chelsea get last year? An American owner. And he drove them both out. I don't know if you can say that, but the conspiracy theory is that he bought Chelsea just to run the coaches back to America.
I love that. That's
Because he won the U.S. national team.
Cool. I'm for
I
it.
think there's a little flaw in that, but whatever.
It's a little flaw in that thinking, but I like it.
Okay.
It's good.
So let's get to your prediction, though. You say with Pochettino,
Yeah.
we make the semis of this World Cup. If we
Yes.
don't, that is, you expect us to make at least the semis.
That should be the bar, and I think that he will do that
Mm.
at home with this squad.
Well, I sure hope so, because, well, I do and I don't, because, man, that's going to be tough not to want to get tickets at the Mercedes-Benz if it happens to be at the Mercedes-Benz,
Why wouldn't you get tickets at the Mercedes-Benz?
because I can't afford those tickets. to the Mercedes-Benz.
I'll buy you a ticket, Mikey.
I would
Pops.
love you. If you did that, you record that.
I was about
check
to
it
say,
out.
that's something to write down
Yeah.
right there.
No, I've decided, with it as crazy as those tickets are going to be, that I will be just as happy going to Best Buy, getting a 100-inch
No.
screen
Don't
TV.
say
No.
that. You're lying.
Setting
No.
it up. Out,
Yeah, no.
Somebody should put a straitjacket on this guy.
No, 100%.
No.
I-
Dude,
Put
that
it-
is
Go
beyond
in the
cynical.
parking lot. No, it's not cynical.
Come on.
How can you justify? How much do you think that ticket's going to go for?
$1 bazillion.
Exactly.
Like, if you just watch what
I
they tried to
can't
charge for
justify the gazillion
Copa?
dollars.
Yes, you can. Wait,
No.
where are we? Is this the semis? What are we talking
Semis.
about?
we go all the way to the
Do you know what the
semis.
semis?
Yes.
One ticket, which means I got to buy two, because there's no way I'm going by myself
Okay,
unless
fair.
Dave's buying me the ticket. Then that's fine.
The semifinals are probably going to be like $1,000.
No way.
Too cheap?
You are so off base.
Like the cheapest ticket, you don't think it
The cheapest ticket, I think, for a semifinal game is going to be $10,000
What?
easily.
Oh, well then, yeah, I'm getting a television.
That will be
If
the
that's truth,
cheapest ticket you
Oh.
can get to a semifinal game.
okay.
$10,000,
That's a lot.
dude. How much was the
10,000?
Argentina Copa America
Like
ticket?
300.
They were like, the decent tickets were like $700, $800.
I need
Well,
to
the
just be in
best
the room where it
Not the-
happens, and then I can sneak.
Okay, that was a crappy Copa America game.
10,000.
That's not
for
crappy.
semis?
Copa
It's no
America.
World Cup semifinal, I can tell you that. It's going to be 10 times that much
Mm.
for a crappy ticket. I guarantee you 2 years from now, $10,000 for a semifinal game.
Good question.
How much does a Super Bowl ticket cost?
You can get Super Bowl
Under
tickets
10,000.
Yeah, like so they resell for like crazy
Super Bowl
things.
tickets
But
go
if you
for like
buy them-
$5,000 to $6,000.
I think the great tickets. I think you can get tickets for Super Bowl
Let's see.
from the direct from like
Carmen,
$1,000
producer this shit up because
I'm just,
I don't think it's true.
$1,200. What's the cheap? Google search the
What about
cheapest
ticket?
Super
Yeah.
Bowl ticket.
Are we doing Super Bowl or World Cup ticket?
Say what was the average price of the last Super Bowl?
Or average? I don't know. Average. You want the cheapest?
I want the
wanna
average
get
price
in.
because that'll at least.
There's
Yeah.
no way it's that expensive.
We are Googling here on the
Where's the
podcast.
tab?
We reached the end.
What do we got? What do we think?
Ha!
Holy
The
crap!
average was
Ticketmaster $8,000 average, dude.
That's crazy.
Okay, what's the cheapest?
Semi-final World Cup is going to be $10,000 on average, dude. I'm telling you.
Shh, Nikes.
What?
When I said I was buying you
Cheapest
one, I take it
price?
back. What's the
What we
cheapest
got?
Super Bowl ticket?
Ha.
What?
Yeah. Welcome to reality.
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
Who's
Are you
got
guys
that
going to be
money?
in the parking lot watching it on my new 100-inch screen TV?
Clearly I
Yeah.
am. I was literally
You're going to be in the
thinking
parking lot with so
maybe like $3,500.
take that fire button back.
I was just saying.
if I could
you wanna-
take it back, I
You know
would.
what I want to say, Carmen?
What's happening now?
I was wrong.
I mean, I clearly was wrong too.
Dang it.
Who knew
Dang
it was
it.
And then,
that
hey, let's keep me.
expensive?
Yeah, ask. Well, what did they go in
Ah.
Qatar? What was the semi? How much was the semifinal ticket in Qatar?
Really?
How much was the semifinal ticket in Qatar?
What was it? 20 Qatar. I never know how to spell it. Qatar.
You
Okay.
got it right.
All right. What do we think? Okay, so that's cheaper.
Semifinal.
Where's the
there you go.
semis?
1,000.
Yeah, they're not going to be that way in the U.S. It's
It
going to
may
be.
not be.
It'll be Super Bowl prices. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
That's because
If we're in
that's
it.
because it was in Qatar. No
Okay.
one like who's.
Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
come on.
So you're saying if we're in it, I could see if we're in it, it will.
See,
just
I
like
was
Qatar
thinking we
wasn't
were
in it.
getting a ticket for $1,000 or $1,200.
No, not going to happen. You'll get those for group stage games.
What?
Yeah.
What?
The eight
Damn it,
home
Mikey
group
Dubs.
stage ones are all going to be $1,000 a pop.
You know,
and
I was so
I'm going to go to.
excited.
I'm
Now
going to
you
go
just-
some group.
I have to say.
Well, that's
You
why.
just
No,
ruined
this
my
is what
day.
we were talking about the Atlanta United tickets because I
Where's
want
the bad button?
I wanna
Where's the
s-
bad
where's
button.
the-
I want to
That
save
sucky
money
button.
for the World Cup versus this Atlanta United product that is not even designed to care about this year. This is how negative I am.
And the U.S. is going to get to the semifinal, then we're not going to be able to go because it's $10,000.
Oh man, somebody's got to know. One of us knows somebody. We should be able
Yeah.
to get in some way or another.
We got to get press
Yeah.
credentials.
I got to figure out some sponsors that'll, some vendors that take care of us.
Man,
God dang.
do you think they want to send like soccer in the streets kids, and we can just like?
I just
chaperone
gave
or
y'all a
something?
dose of reality.
You
didn't I?
really
You
did.
just brought the whole podcast.
No, we just-
You
down to
really
The
did.
neighborhood people, we've been talking about the semifinals for like months.
Uh-huh.
And we've been assessing what the ticket price, and everybody agrees they're going to be like 10 plus.
What? And yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I'll have two
That's-
kids in college.
yeah.
Serious, that's not happening.
We're going to be out there in the new Windstream that with
with the side
the
television.
side television. Then we'll go on a little.
Damn it.
We'll go to the
Side-
Grand Canyon
Oh,
afterwards
man.
and
Damn
have a
it,
vacation.
side tele-
Damn it. So I have less than 2 years to find a sugar daddy to get me into the World Cup
Yes.
semis, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, let's find a sugar.
I might have the Alzheimer's drug. It's my only hope.
There we go.
Amen to that. We need that kind of money.
God.
So, okay, European soccer has started on a
Yeah.
on a
all right,
brighter
let's
note.
talk about Man United and our new
Oh,
signing.
you want to talk about Manchester United?
Yeah, that's gonna cheer me up. Atlanta United's not gonna cheer me up. Barely the World Cup coming to America is not gonna cheer me up.
I mean, man, you really let that game go.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
They let the Brighton
does.
Yeah, it wasn't.
matter,
It wasn't good, but it's not
pigeons
gonna-
or whatever they are like come in and what are they? The
Brighton
what
and
kind of
Hove
bird? What
Albion.
kind of
There's some
bird
kind
is
of
that?
bird.
It's like a
You shouldn't have lied.
sea pigeon. It's got beat by a bunch of sea pigeons.
know, I
For
have to
crying
look
out
it
loud.
up.
fair,
And
I
you're
have to
look
optimistic.
it up.
We were a little unlucky, but anyway, the Ugarte Today's signing.
You love some Ugarte, dude.
Yeah, you were Ugarte. I didn't even know what that. I thought you just misspelled something.
So Ugarte is, I think he's Uruguayan. He's South American, and he's 23 years old, and he plays for Paris. He played for Paris Saint-Germain, and they let him go. There you go.
Because all he does is win the ball.
Yeah, and their general manager in the interview, they're like, "Well, why would you let Ugarte go?" And he was like, "Well, the problem is he's not a ball player. He only wins the ball." Like, you know how many teams would love a guy who wins the ball at 23 all the time? Like, I mean, that guy's a baller. Like,
He's 20. Oh,
he real good. And is he from Uruguay?
Yeah.
He's hard-nosed. He wins the ball. He covers a tremendous amount of ground. He plays simple.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe he's not, messy on the ball. Who cares? He's your defensive midfielder. His job is to win the ball and give it back to Fernandez and Rashford
the
the blah, 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 blah. We've got them all.
Okay.
We've got a great team. And, right, I mean, our squad, Carmen, because you're a Man United fan.
I am.
So unless there's an injury streak,
it doesn't matter.
Ten Hag's got to get it done, right? That's what I'm
yeah.
hearing.
That's for sure.
I feel like yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like he barely kept his job. We kind of saved him with the last little ditch effort.
So we signed in this window, Mazraoui, who's the right back, and I hadn't really seen him that much at Bayern Munich because I don't watch much of their matches. His defending, at least in the first match, was terrific.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, an outside back who can defend.
So what are they? 1 win, 1 loss right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay. And then we signed Delict as the center back, right alongside Martinez, who's already really good.
Yes.
That team now.
Well, the interesting.
We can help.
We got Højlund up front and Garnacho, and in the midfield, Fernandez. Yeah. I mean,
and here's the thing.
It's a team, man.
Like when I watched the game, you got Garnacho, you got who else was playing? Yeah, you got Højlund.
Manu still?
Manu. I'm not sold on Manu.
I know you're not. You've never been sold on him.
Somebody else is exciting I was watching. But anyway, what you forget about how good Rashford actually is as a player, and he'll be a disease in your team if you keep losing to Brightons.
Yeah.
If
the team starts going,
if you have 2 more losses to a Brighton and you got a Rashford going the wrong direction, like an Araujo, like I said, I'm going to do the Araujo prediction on Man U. Like that guy could be so good if the momentum and the vibe is good in the team.
Yep,
you're going to get the best Rashford
we've
ever seen.
And you know how you get the best Rashford? You turn the ball over in midfield and you get it to him quickly where he's out running with 1-on-1 and then he's dynamite.
Yeah.
When you try to break down a set defense where everything's tight or whatever, Rashford, that totally negates his strength because he's pacey and he's strong on the dribble, right? What you need to unlock Rashford, Ugarte. That is what you need.
Just win the ball in the midfield, play it.
Yeah, coach, I only win the ball and play to Rashford. And Rashford's like, yes, coach, yes, you do. Yes, you do. I mean, come on. That is the thing. And we had that this year. We had Sleaze to turn over the ball and give it to Almada and give it to Silva and give it to Saba where they could be in space running at people. And we had a guy who could finish, and Pineda ruined it for us.
Did ruin it.
Why we can't have nice things.
United looked like the way better team in that game, obviously.
Yeah.
But what else?
We are the better team.
Anything else happening in the European world?
Well, I mean, Real Madrid, forget it. Is Real Madrid's front line the best front line of all time?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Yes.
Think of better.
Now that you said, I was like watching it the other day and I was like, I know the who is it? What were they called? Not the Invincibles were the Arsenal. But no, who was it when Beckham went over when you had Ronaldo and Zidane
name for
and
that
Raul? Team? Yeah, that team.
The Galacticos.
The Galacticos. Thank you.
Okay.
I was like watching. I was like, this is like Galacticos 2.0 is what I was thinking when I saw that the other day. I was like, damn, that's when you have players that are just like maybe I'll score when I want to.
They're
And
front.
like that's how Ronaldo was. Like, don't worry about it. We got scored on. He was like, I got 2, guaranteed, not a problem.
Yeah. So his dude, what's his name? Vinicius, is he at all contemplating the like $1 billion offer he got from Saudi
No.
Arabia?
No, 'cause
Darn
he's
it.
not dumb.
But still, it's $1 billion. No? Okay, fine.
Because they'll pay him like almost $1 billion when he's even old.
So they have
Yeah.
Mbappe, Bellingham, and Vinicius Jr. as their front three. And not only is it a front three with pace and skill and can finish and everything else and can combine, but it's natural, right? Mbappe likes to play on the right. Vinicius Jr. plays on the left. Bellingham plays through the middle. And they have the 2 youngest center midfielders that are amazing. They have Camavinga and they just bought the. I mean, they have the
It's
guys to
silly.
turn it over. It's ridiculous. That team. Oh my goodness! Right? They got Rudiger. They have in the back. They've got Rodrigo. I mean, that team. If they don't win
and
everything,
and you could see like watching that. I forget who they were playing, and
God.
it was just about the timing. Like Mbappe was just missing with some of the timing. It was like,
yeah,
it takes
this minute to get
exactly. I was like, and that was my
Yeah.
thought. I was like, oh my god, when this clicks in 2 weeks, it could be ugly.
And they have the coach to unlock it too,
Yeah.
because he's super practical. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, you have the roster there.
I don't even know.
Scroll down a little
Oh,
bit.
down
yeah.
more.
But just like Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr.
Show more. Tuchemani is the other guy I was thinking of. Tuchemani and
Yeah.
Camavinga. Those 2 young guys are playing in the center of the park, and oh my God, are they good? Right? Really good. They got a great back line. They've got a terrific goalkeeper, and they have the best front line of all time. That team.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
seen a team.
Luka Modric.
The only
Rodrigo.
team I've ever seen, in my opinion, that looks like it's going to be that team was the original Milan, the super team at AC Milan that had Hulit van Basten, Rijkaard. It had, Donadoni. It had Baresi, and it had Maldini. It had Nesta. That was a team. This team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think even any Pep Guardiola coach team is going to beat this team.
No.
I mean, and I know they already got a draw, but they're just getting going. Once they get going, they're going to score.
Yeah.
And the rest of La Liga is not that. The top is really good, but the rest is
Yeah.
not that good. They're going to score. They're going to be some 12-goal games. I mean, they're going to be some ridiculous things.
It'll be fun to
And
watch.
they're
I
all
can't even lie.
young. Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, Mbappe. Nobody's even 25 or
Are you
25.
kidding me right
Yeah.
They're all
They're
like-
like 21.
Yeah.
I mean, Bellingham might even only be 20.
Yeah, he's a baby.
It's 21
21.
years for Bellingham.
turned
What's
21.
Mbappe? 22?
Mbappe's 23, 24, maybe 25 now. 25.
25.
He just turned 25. Right? I mean, good Lord, he's not even in his prime yet. And Vinicius Jr. is younger. He's
24.
24.
Holy crud monkey.
And look at the midfield. Click on
Crud monkey.
Click on-
great word.
click on Tuchemani and
use
Camavinga.
Oh, man.
Tuchemani 24, right? Super good. Look at Camavinga, a defensive midfielder, right? 21. Like, oh my, that are all starting in that team. That is a ridiculous
That
team.
is
Yeah.
so
The next 4 or 5 years. could be-
crazy.
Even Rodrigo,
Yeah.
Rudiger, right?
Yeah.
Rudiger is like the old man on the team. Was he like 27? Oh, he's 31. He is older. You got one guy who's
Yeah, you
30.
need
You're
a
not
vet.
old for this earth, but
He's
you're
like-
old for
he's
Real
like-
Madrid.
he's
He
like,
is
hey,
so
boys.
old. He's so old.
He's like all these young guys. Like I knew he was the, and of course Carvajal is old, but
Man.
oh my God, Valverde, really, really good. Endrick is another young guy who comes off the bench for them. That is a squad.
That is a squad.
That is a squad. Rob Valentino, Pineda could win La Liga with that team.
I could win La Liga with this team.
Yeah, but you know what? Pineda would screw it up because he would have
He'd
the
go-
wingers.
go
He
hot-
would have Carvajal ball
They keep-
overlapping and
keep
say
him locked into
Mbappe
the-
needs to overload. You're like, dude, just get the freak out of the way. Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe are gonna go by their guy like they're cones, and he would bring in the extra defender and he'd ruin the whole freaking thing. Like, oh god,
It will be fun to
So,
watch.
Have we talked about it all?
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh, you know what we
Okay.
haven't talked about?
What have we not talked about?
I am flying to Charleston in 2 weeks for College of Charleston's 50th alumni celebration of the soccer program.
Football.
Yeah. So I'm going to go down on Friday. I'm going to watch the College of Charleston team play a game. I can't remember who they're playing right now off the top of my head.
Okay.
Hang out with 200 or plus alumni that have been a
Oh
part of the
my
program.
Gosh, look at you.
Cheer on the team. And then on Saturday, there's some alumni games. Maybe I'll sub in for like 10 minutes.
No,
and-
go the full 90.
No, I'm not going to get. Then I'm going to see if I can go fishing or something. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, that's
I
my
like it.
plan.
Oh, that's
Exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
Will we have any video or like
Oh,
that
no.
we can? No,
Maybe
no
me
video.
catching some fish on Saturday. I don't know.
Fine, fine.
All right, that's
All
a
right.
good note to end on. Let's dance
All
it off.
Just like back in Guadalajara. You say it, I do it, coach.
Football is life. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Danny Rojas, Danny Rojas.
Uh-huh. Atlanta United. Lost at sea. Ciao.